Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album's 10th anniversary, and it's from my all-time favorite band. And some people probably definitely know who this is, and they definitely don't need an introduction. And as you can see below, today we're going to be looking into The Final Frontier by Iron Maiden, band's 15th album released on August 16th, 2010 through EMI Records. And this, of course, follows up 2006, This Is a Matter of Life and Death, which I thought was a pretty good album. And this album had a lot of hype for it, even going back to like 2009 or so. And I remember even June of 2010 when they released the song El Dorado, I was like, damn, this is really great. Right? And it's hard to believe that was 10 years ago. Oh, and I was really stoked for this album, even seeing all the hype and stuff. And well, this album isn't really a concept album. Like, the only concept album that Iron Maiden has had was probably Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Like, obviously they have a theme, and the theme of this album, you could tell by Eddie, their mascot, is about outer space and stuff. And right here I have is a Mission Edition, which I first got in 2010, which actually has some bonus content, some like interviews and wallpapers and stuff, and a little like mini game with it. So yeah, it's a little, and whoop, shit, sorry, I dropped it. I have a booklet of it. See, is signed by Steve Harris himself. And this album is pretty good. Like definitely, like each track follows through pretty well. There's a little minor nitpicks that I wish they could have done a bit, but yeah, but this album is actually really good. I think this is probably the best. I remember when I first heard this, I thought this was their best since probably Brave New World, which actually came out 10 years prior to this one in 2000. But vocally, Bruce Dickinson, like, he nails it really well at his age around this time. He was 52 at this time, and he's, well, now 62. And he still sounded as good then as he is now. Guitar-wise, Dave, Adrian, and Yannick can do no wrong. Just like the guitar solos and just the shreddy stuff that they do is fantastic. Bass-wise, Steve Harris, my all-time favorite bassist, being in my all-time favorite band, he could do no wrong. His bass is really turned up well in the mix. And drumming-wise, Nico McBrain does a really great job in the drumming department. So yeah, I rambled on for about 2.5 minutes, so let's just dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is the little intro called Satellite 15... The Final Frontier, which is pretty much a combination of like two songs, and they would pretty much play these epic like openers live, like they did. But this album, it kind of like, my little gripe with Satellite 15, it kind of like goes on for a little bit too long. I feel like they could have like shortened it a little bit, but then when the Final Frontier kicks in, it's just boom, hits you right in there with some really great riffs, and just Bruce sounds just really great at ever. He also has some really great guitar solos from Adrian and Dave. Hey, Dave, it's just some really great just rockin' riffs in this song. It's a pretty solid opener, but then it leads into the next song being El Dorado, which I remember this was the first song I heard from this album, as it was like a free download from the band's website in June of 2010. And this song, just like I said, is a continuation from the last album. I mean, not the last album, the last song. And it has a really great chorus, like El Dorado, come and play. And this song just really just gets you right in that. And I can't even speak today, sorry. This song is just really just rocking, just very catchy. Like, the chorus is just catchy, and I just love those gallops that Steve Harris does. And all three guitar players do a great solo in here, and it's a great song. And then we go on to the next song on here being Mother of Mercy. Now, this song lyrically kind of sounded like something from their previous album, A Matter of Life and Death, which pretty much has the tone and lyrics are pretty much about like war and stuff. And the chorus is really great, right? I don't even know how Bruce does it, but damn, he's fucking great. And then we go on to Coming Home, which has a really great, starts off with a good twin guitar riff, and this is also kind of like a ballad, like kind of similar to Out of the Shadows from the previous album. And after this ballad, it just sounds like just very much 80s, like Iron Maiden, and it just, and also, so like the solos are kind of like different. Like the first solo was Dave solo, which kind of sounds a little bit jazzy, and Adrian's solo is just very much just rockin', and the chorus is just really catchy, and just like the music behind it is great. That it's just a good song. Then we go on to The Alchemist, which is the shortest song on here. It's only about 4.5 minutes long, and in my honest opinion, I think think it's kind of like the weakest, but it feels like something like production-wise, it could have been something from the first two Maiden albums. Yeah, but then we go on to sort of like the epics of the album. We go on to Isle of Avalon, which is, in my opinion, the most progressive song that Maiden has done so far yet. And it starts off with a great dark intro, and then there's like a middle section that kind of reminds you of a little bit something from like Seventh Son. And there's a really great verse that is melodic and just some really great progressive solos. It feels like it's like a mixture of like Iron Maiden meets Dream Theater meets Opeth. Just brilliant stuff. And then we go on to Starblind, which this song is just a monster. It starts off with a great intro and then just riffs, chorus, an amazing chorus and more riffs, and just really just a fantastic chorus in there. And there's also a little bit of like synths in there, which kind of reminds me of something from Somewhere in Time. And then we go on to another one of my favorite songs on here, which is The Talisman, which is a 9-minute long song, which the intro starts off very acoustically, which kind of reminds me a little bit of The Legacy off of A Matter of Life and Death. And I know I keep mentioning A Matter of Life and Death a lot in this review, but I definitely see a lot of the similarities with this. And then there's like a lyrics that Bruce just tells like a story in like the midsection, which kind of reminds you a little bit of like Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. And this song just gets heavy and Bruce just sings his ass off. And the chorus is the best in my opinion. And just Bruce just does a really great job in that song. It's just, and there's no one going back. No, there's not a second chance. Just a great song to sing along to. And around almost like 7 minutes in, the music is just the most progressive things that Maiden has done. And this song just passes through with no time. And wait, the next song on the album is called The Man Who Would Be King. And this song is just pretty much written by Dave and Steve. And it's just the most kind of very psychedelic like that they have done. It has a really great melodic intro in there, and the music just gets just heavy and just amazing, and just a great production wise and as well, and just another very catchy chorus to it. Another great song. And then the album closes with When the Wild Thing Blows, and this song is the longest song on here. It's 11 minutes long, and they pretty much saved the best for last. And when I first heard this song, it gives me goosebumps even just hearing it. It's just very melodic. In fact, there's not even a second where the melody doesn't even go away. And Bruce's singing is just amazing. Probably, in my opinion, the best on this album. I just love how it starts off with a little bit of winds, and it just goes very just smooth for a little bit, and then it just boom hits you right in the head. And there's like only 3 verses in this song, where the first kind of reminds you a little bit of like a folky melody, and then the second is pretty much more melody with like Adrian and Dave solo with and especially just right before one of the solos has like a great riff that just makes you want to just like river dance and shit. And then the third verse almost kind of just sounds like just classic Maiden. And then the song ends kind of like just how it begins. It's just very soft and just ends with sort of like wind blowing, I think, which is a pretty good way to end this album. Now, overall, The Final Frontier by Iron Maiden is a really pretty good album. It still holds up even 10 years later. So if I have to give this album a score, I'm probably going to give The Final Frontier by Iron Maiden a solid 8.5 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of The Final Frontier, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.